Hey everybody, I have looked at my hair and I don't know what's going on up top. I know that it needs to be cut, but it like as flat as can be. So today is Sunday, January the 8th, I believe it is. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not planning on watching the Super Bowl. I'm going to watch the Olympics, and that's actually what I got playing on behind you. So if you see me stop for a while and like focus in, the men are getting ready to freestyle skate. It's their long program. And I love to watch skating, but they're showing me hockey too, so I forgot to try and get this done. Well, I've had a busy week. I have worked on 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 projects. I forgot that I got one over there. Let me get that real quick. Okay, and I only got one of them finished, and it was almost finished last week, except for putting on the little tail ends of it. So I will put my finished object on first. Are you ready? I used the colors of my blanket for my granddaughter last week, and I made this, and I thought, you know, everybody's making one, it's really cute. I used little wiggy wiggies, and I gave it to her to try on, and she was not impressed, and she is 10. I didn't have any of the boys look at it. I figured she's my little fashion icon, so I don't know how well these things are going to sell, but she was a no-go. The hat sat here and has not gone anywhere. So she did not find it amusing, funny, or anything like that. So I have one of the jester hats made. That is my only finished object this week, and I was mostly finished last week. I think I had to put the rest of the, I think I just had to put on the little twirly things on the back of it. So I got all them done. And that is what I got finished. Now, on what I don't have finished, my works in progress, I have 4 things of that. But I picked up 4 different projects this week. So this was the one that I started. And this is Jada's and Stitches, the unicorn. Yeah, that's all the farther I got. I kind of pooped out. Then I just haven't picked it up since then. And Tuesday, I don't think I did anything because I was running most of the day. And I didn't feel good by the time I got home. And I just kind of crashed. So Wednesday, instead of doing embroidery, because I don't have any embroidery projects started, so I didn't want to do that, I decided to pick up my counter cross stitch. So this is what I got done. I have finished my mushrooms. I finished her hair, her little flower up there. I did this one. I started this mushroom, put the tail on this mushroom, the bottom. I've got another elf up here, or not an elf, what are these, fairies? It's a boy fairy up here, and I started a flower. That's all that I've done. So I did this all day Wednesday, and then I worked on it all day Wednesday. I pretty much got him placed. Oh, this is the butterfly here. Him placed, and I was working on mushrooms, I think, all day, and her hair. And then I went out last night because kids had to go to bed at 8, and I was staying up to at least 11. I went out and finished, made sure all the mushrooms had their little white things on it. And then I did this flower, started this flower, and started this butterfly. And the elf was already there from Wednesday. So that is what I did. So that was 2 days worth of work. And I love sitting there and doing this. I really do. But when I come back and actually look at how long it took me to get that done, and I'm like, now the only reason that this was not finished, because I purchased this back in, I believe, 2004. Let me check that. It's not actually dated, but I know I did not work on this at all last year. And I'm pretty sure I bought it in the year 2004. But it doesn't say that. I don't see any dates on here whatsoever. And the reason that I stopped working on this, because I had done the 3 dragons, and I'm one of these. I got this big hoop. That's what I had, and I really like this little needle minder. This is all a item from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Caterpillar Cross Stitch, yes. It's an English company. At the time, I believe, when I purchased it, it was $45 for the whole kit. And what you got was, I bought the whole kit. I get the yarn, the floss already put on cards. and you just kind of match it up, the colors, the pattern, the fabric, the needle minder, a needle, and I think that's it. And I have this big hoop. Now I probably, when I take this out of this big hoop eventually, I will probably put it in a smaller hoop so I can just work on one area. But I did the 3 dragons, and at one time I had the dragon in there. Now this came in sections, so you would get, the first section was the dragons, so you get the middle. And I think you get these things here. And the 2 dragons. And probably this, no, this down here. Maybe. Anyway, but you got the 3 dragons, and I got all them on there. And I started in the 3rd part. So that's the page that's the section I started. That's when I bought it. I was already on the 3rd there because I kept seeing it and seeing it. I really, really like this. So I went ahead and got it. There's evidently a thing over here that you do too. Anyway, so I got it, and then I started on this part 3. So where I placed my hoop at the time was for the dragon, and then you had part 2 is down here, which is the mermaids, which I'll get to eventually. It'll probably be the last ones I do. But because I had the paperwork for the fairies, I decided to go in this direction, which I did. And you can see I have a fairy here. I have a fairy boy that goes here, and then I'm going to have a fairy that goes down in this section. And more than likely, she will be one of the last ones done when I do this section over here. So I wanted to go into the current section because you're given like a month's time to work on it, and I wanted to really stay with the pattern. So I started working on it, loved it. Well, then they came out with a North America one, and it was the same thing. You get so many pieces of it during the year at so many weeks in advance. It was like 6 weeks. And we were planning a cross-country trip across North America because that's where I live, and I really wanted to do that. So I ordered it, got it, started working on it. Works up really, really fast, and I think I'm done like the East Coast, most of the East Coast, not all of it, like where I live and stuff like that. But anyway, and then my son turned around and says, "Mom, would you make me a Doctor Who scarf?" And I said, "Well, send me the pattern, I'll take a look at it." So he does. And I said, "Do you have the yarn for this?" And he says, "No." I said, "Well, let me see what I have." So I looked and saw what I had. And I said, "Okay, this is the colors I don't have. This is the colors I do have," because it took 6 colors. And it was knitting. So I put it aside, my North America counter cross stitch aside, which is in my bucket. And then I turned around and started knitting his scarf for him. So it's an over 6-foot scarf that is knitted all the way, and it is 3 months worth of work. I told him if anybody wants it, that's totally fine. It's $200 because I don't want to ever make it again. I didn't mind making it. I enjoyed making it, but it took me 3 months to make, and I've learned that over time that I like a quick fix. That's why I like crochet so much. So I showed you that. Okay, so last week Elijah drew for my little bucket, and what he drew out was a latch hook thing. And what I'm doing is, when something is drawn out of here, I will work on that during any spare time or days that I don't have something to do. I will work on that project. That's how come I got the pillowcase for the boy done, was because I just couldn't put it down. Once I started it, I enjoyed it, I had so much fun with it, I decided to finish it. So what I'm doing is I'm not picking up any new crafts except my crochet blanket from Jada and Stitches, because that's something that's going to take all year. You just basically stitch the whole thing. Megan has asked me for a sweater, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that for her. I want to make myself a sweater. I kind of feel like it's my turn to make something, but I'm going to pick something out of here once a week, and like today is anything I want to do today. So I can pick up whatever I draw out of here, and that's what I have to do. I can work on my latch hook thing, I can work on my counter cross thing, I can work on my crochet thing, I can do whatever. Oh, I know, I forgot to show you this one. I am also, this one is my plastic canvas. Let's see, Thursday is plastic canvas. So I was like, okay, I have plastic canvas kits already started. I will go pull one out of the closet. And I did. And it doesn't look like much now, but I worked on cutting these flowers. This is the bottom. And make sure I get the right, no, this is the top. I gotta look at it. This is the bottom. So I'm going to turn around and do this. So there's my flower. And this is my top. See if I can get it all in there. So, see if I can get it with one finger. Boop, right on the floor. Anyway, so I did 4 of these, 4 of these, 4 of these, and I hope I don't have to do another one because I just do that one on the floor. And then I worked on putting stitches in here. So I'm doing like the bottom stitches I worked on. So that's what I did. So that's my plastic canvas. So if you remember my little postcard that I had, which I don't have it here in front of me, it's over there. I'm not pausing to go get it. Monday is crocheting. Tuesday is cross stitch. 3 is embroidery. 5 is plastic canvas. 6, which was Friday. I don't remember what Friday was. I don't remember what Friday is. WIPs, works in progress. Anything that's work in progress that I want to pick up and work on is Friday. Saturday was amigurumi, which I'm coming to realize I don't typically care for amigurumi. And Sunday is a free day. I can work on anything I want. I can pull out something new. I can work on something that's old. It's purely up to me as to what I want to do. So I decided to Sunday. I'm thinking about going back to my latch work. I really enjoyed doing that. I have to set up a 6-foot table in my bedroom, and I sit there, it's like a typewriter. I slide it down. As I work, I slowly slide it this way till I can't get it any farther, and then I finish it off, and then I slide it. Oh, and I didn't show you that either. My goodness, what am I doing? So, this is what I have done for 3 days. Okay, doesn't look like much. And it's really big, so I don't know if I'll get a chance to open it completely up. But it is huge. Alright, I'm going to open it the wrong way. I'm going, so, there it is, there it starts. There it goes all the way across. And then it has a small end that is over here. Alright, 164 stitches all the way across. And I have found out that you see that I have crochet markers on here and counters, and I'm telling you, they are a game changer, because with something this big, and it is huge, don't let it fool you, it is absolutely huge. It's 164 across. I have no idea how many's going up, but I would have to sit there and recount where I was all the way from the beginning all the way to the end to find out where I would stop, because I get distracted. I'm watching the Olympics, stuff happens, and I would not be able to get through that. So I worked on it for a day last Sunday, and I just sat it on my walker. Those of you who don't know, I was in a car accident in 2010, and it did an injury to my back. I broke a bone off my spine. I think you call it a spinal tip. Anyway, I broke it. And I had done really, really good with injections and stuff like that. They had worked. And in 2023, I had an injection on May 29th, I believe it was. And I stepped out of the shower on June 2nd and slipped. And that was the end of my shot. That was the end of my injection. My legs went in 2 different directions. I was not comfortable, and I have not been comfortable since then. Well, since that time, I've had to we've moved. And in the move and having to walk and do stuff like that, I had to eventually go onto a walker. Well, I have come to realize that I needed to be on a walker. Without the walker, to try and walk across the room, I become out of breath. I slowly start shrinking, heavy breathing, and I just struggle. With the walker, I can walk faster. I can hold up my body. I'm not breathing as heavy usually by the time I'm done. So I'm pretty much on a walker most of the time. Even when I'm walking through my house, I need to be on the walker. I'll take short steps, but if I got to be out for a while, I just can't. I can't stand at the stove for any length of time. I've got to sit there in my walker. So I've become pretty dependent on my walker. So anyway, I opened up this latch kit, and I turned around and put this latch kit across my walker, and it was going up and down, and I struggled. Well, it was taking me almost a pretty good 2 hours to get from one end to the other end. I still think it takes me at least an hour and a half to get from one end to the other end, but I'm not struggling trying to move it, hold it, watching stuff flip up in the air, because I'm also sorting yarn, because every time I run out of color, if I don't have that color, which is usually brown or black, I got to go through and pull up another spool of yarn to get the brown out of it. It's not that much brown in there, but for a while there I was pulling it because I needed the black. Now I'm down to not needing as much black. I need the brown, and I have to pull it for brown. So anytime that I pull 2 or more things, I separate them back out. So I got them all separated in bags last night that I wanted in bags. And it's a lot of yarn. So that's what I pulled last week, and I'm on row 14, I believe, on that of 164 stitches in 3 days. So pretty much watching the Olympics. So I'm glad I have the Olympics for the next 2 weeks. I know what I'm doing in my free time, unless I pick something else. So let me get to that, because I just dropped that on the floor. I'm moving my table. I gotta get to it because I knocked it off the table. So I'm still here. I'm not going to pause you. I already paused once. I don't want to pause again because I'm so afraid of losing my video. And like I said last week, I do not pause, edit, or anything like that when I'm doing a video. What you see is what you get. So me falling apart is what you get. Look at my hair. So this is what I shall do, and this will be coming the new Wilma things. So whatever I pull out of here is what I'll be working on the day that I pull it. So let's see what I pull. I have, the only crochet thing I have is Jaded and Stitches crochet thing, and I may end up working on that tonight, so that's not a big deal. And then I finish that, and I understand, I saw that her February was out, so I gotta do her February square, so I'm half, square and a half back behind. So, and I might have both of them finished by next week. Although I don't count on it because I gotta go get green. I was talking to someone today, and I was telling them, I said, as much yarn and as much projects as I have in my box, I said, I gotta go yarn shopping. I don't have colors. And she says, what do you mean you need to go yarn shopping? I said, I don't have colors. She says, again, what do you mean you don't have colors? I said, I got projects to do that need certain colors, and I don't have them, so I have to actually come up with a way that I need to put some color in my yarn things. So I need to go yarn shopping. I'm not sure that's going to happen. So I'm going to turn around and flip this to you. I cannot see what it says. I'm going to put down my glasses and see what it says. Uh-oh. Embroidery a pillowcase for a boy. So I had already finished my boy pillowcase, but this is for the other boy. So now I will go and this week find a new pillowcase. I'll put this in here because I don't know if I'll finish it. And I have to go and border another pillowcase. So I think what is left in that group for Embroidery for Boy for a pillowcase is, I think it's air balloons, which will take me time because the balloons are done with satin stitches. They're not actually X's. They're satin stitches, which is a lot of filling in. So that one's going to take me time, and that once I get it made, then I'll figure out who I'm going to give it to. So that looks like what I'm doing this week. Is on Wednesday is I'm starting a new embroidery project, or I might start it tonight if I have enough light in my bedroom. So I will see you next week. Sorry the video has been so long, but I worked on quite a bit of stuff this week, and I'm just a little, off-centered evidently, because I can't remember what I've done. Y'all have a good week. It's a good day to craft. Go have some fun. It's been cold in the Northeast. We are very low temperatures. I don't really want to go outside, and my pet is a cat, so I don't have to go outside if I don't want to. I feel sorry for my husband. He's got his dog, and his dog wants to go out at least 3 times a day, if not 4 or 5, and it's like, I'm sorry. I'm not going outside. Love you, but I'm not taking your dog out for you, even with my scooter. So, and even my scooter's not been running right, so we looked at it. It's for some reason it's not staying connected, and unfortunately it'll unconnect itself while I'm running it. So we don't know what's going on with it. But hey, y'all have a great Sunday, and I'll see you next week.